In this video, we're going to take a look at forms and how to create a form. You first go, of course, to the dashboard and you'll click on the link for forms, which is right over here. And then once you get that, you'll see the forms that are already there. And now we're going to create a new form. And we're just going to create a simple registration form for a free event. So we'll just call it registration. And you can give it a description. And then you hit create the form. And then that'll bring you to the page where you actually put in all the parameters surrounding the form. So you'll see the first thing you need to do is select a field type. So you can select a single line text. And then when you do that, you'll see it comes up here as untitled. And you're going to want to click on the little down arrow. When you do that, it's going to open up your field label and you can give it a name. So we're just going to call it name. Actually, we're going to call it first name. You can put a maximum number of characters. You can make it required if you want. I will require first name. You can put anything you want in for appearance. The only thing I really use here is field size, small, medium, or large. It'll change the size of this. So if I went large, you'll see that's really big. And if I went to small, you'd see that's rather small. And then there's some advanced pieces here. I wouldn't worry too much about this. I don't really use it that much either. I can't imagine there'll be much use for that. So there you go. That's your first field. Then you'll take your second field, which is going to be your last name. So there we go. We've got the last name there. And then we're going to want to pick out something else. Oh, we'll probably just want your email address. So we can drag that over. Oh, it doesn't want to go over. There we go. We're going to drag that over, and then you're going to go ahead and create that as an email address. So now you've got your first name, your last name, your email address. There are a number of other choices here. I'm just going to show you what they look like. There's a drop-down menu. I often use this if I want people to select the campus that they are from. So as you see with your drop-down menu, you'll be asked to put in your different choices. Your first choice, second choice, third choice. Like I said, I usually use this if the campus is going to be registering and makes it easier for them just to pick their campus. Same thing with radio buttons. Radio buttons are somewhat similar. Radio buttons, again, you have choices, so you want them to be able to select a choice. Check boxes are a little different because with check boxes, they can choose more than one. So radio buttons are used when you just want them to choose one. And check boxes are used when you want them to choose more than one. So those are the big ones you'll use a lot. Paragraph text, if you're going to have them submit something. So for example, with the President's Awards, we have them submit a paragraph for each candidate. That's where you use something like paragraph text. Otherwise, you probably won't need it very much. There are some advanced fields these are fields that are already pre-populated or pre-created for you. You can just grab those. Like I could have just grabbed name and tossed it over here, address, things like that. There's post fields that you won't bother with and pricing fields that we never use. So that's pretty much what a form looks like, and those are your different choices with your forms. So that's the first section of forms. That's like creating the form. The next one, we'll want to update our form. The next one is we'll want to move to the settings of the form. So there are a number of different form settings, so let's take a look at those. With form settings, you'll see this just tells us where things should be placed. So there's your title, where are the labels placed, where is the description placed, things such as that. If you need to put a button, what kind of button it is, what the text of the button is. If you want people to be able to save what they're doing and continue later, you can enable the save and continue option. There are a number of restrictions you can put on a form. You can actually schedule a form to appear and not appear, and any number of things. So those are the first part of form settings. That's the basic settings of the form. But then there's confirmations, and confirmations are what people get when they submit the form. So when they submit the form, there is an automatic default confirmation. And I want you to see what that looks like, because once they hit the submit button or whatever it might be to submit their form, they'll get a message on the screen that will look something like this. And of course, you can change this and customize it to your form any way you want. Just make sure any changes you make, you then hit Save Confirmation. The next section is notifications. Now, this is an important one. It can be somewhat tricky, but this is the notification for the form itself and who gets that form. So the reason why I say it can be tricky is if you don't change these, if you don't change them, that form's never come into your email. So you want to put your email address in. So that form goes to exactly who it's supposed to go to. Also, I always test the form. Now the from email, I would take away admin email. What's going to happen there, just as an FYI, is the admin email is actually the admin of the creator of the entire Campus Compact site, not just ours, but all of the sites. It'll go to him and he's not going to forward them to you, trust me. So make sure you put who the admin email is and then who it comes from. So you can easily take this from the form fields. So you're going to put from, you click on this section here, you'll get this drop down, throw email address in there, and then it'll come with the email address, and you can even throw the first name and then you put a space, and then you can put in this last name too. So this way, when that email comes through, you know exactly who it's coming from. New submission from, you can change this to be anything you want. It is helpful for the subject to have the form title in it because as you're receiving it, it helps the person who receives that form know exactly what they're receiving. And then you would really not fill out the message piece because that's what they're going to do. So once you've completed that, you'll update notification. So let's update our notifications. And then we'll do one more, take one more thing. We're going to look at the user registration. Just going to take a look at it so that you're familiar with it being there, but we're really not going to do anything with that, so I wouldn't worry about it. You don't have any feeds configured. I'm not really sure what that's for, but because it's a new feature with this new website, but I don't see that we would have a lot of use for it. Now, once you've done your form and you've got your settings and everything squared away, you can always go back to this form to view any entries that you might have on the form. So if you want to go to entries, you'd see if anybody submitted. We haven't had anybody submit yet. Let me see if we've had anybody submit for something else though. So here's a CSD meeting, RSVP. This is just test. I did testing on the site, and so you'll see here's the entries. So when you hit entry, you'll actually get entries. If you wanted to preview, we'll go back here. If you want to preview what your form is going to look like when it is complete, you just click on the preview and take a look, and now we'll get to see what our form will look like. So that's pretty much what our form is going to look like when it's complete and it's submitted. That's where the submit button is, rather. So that's what the form will look like when it's done. So that's how you create a form and how you configure the settings. But now, how do you get that form onto a page on the website? So you have to make the form, but then you have to embed it into a page. So we'll go to our pages, and I'm going to go ahead and go to our sample page that we've been using for some of the other tutorials. So here's our sample page. Now you'll look at this and say, oh, I don't remember writing any of that. That's because we didn't write this. What happened is it encrypted, and so this is completely encrypted. So you'll go to the front end editor, and when you go to the front end editor, you'll see that the encryption is gone. You can see exactly what it is you put there, which is another really good feature of using the front end editor. So let's go to the front end editor. On our sample page, we've got our calendar. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that because I want to, there we go, I want to add a new element. So if I add a new element, I'm going to add the form. So you just click on here, and then you have to find the form element, and that's called gravity form. So you're going to have your gravity form, and then it'll ask you to select the form you want to display. We're going to select our registration form. We'll save our changes, close it, and then you'll see this is right here and on our sample page. So I'm going to go ahead and click update to the page. And as I said in a previous video, for some reason I always have to click it twice before it will actually update. and then we'll close out of it. And once we close out of the editor, now we're on the actual page. We can actually fill that form out if we want. So let's go ahead and take a really quick look so you can see what that looks like once it's completed. We'll put that in there. We're not going to do anything there. This is my second choice, third choice. You see how it toggles between them? But here on the checkboxes, I can pick multiples, and then I can pick on my drop down. So then I hit submit. When I hit submit, we should get that message. See that message? It said, thank you for contacting us. We'll get back to you shortly. Then you can actually refresh your page if you want to, and you'll be back to your regular page. So that is how a form works. So the last thing we want to do is just check to make sure that that form worked correctly. I'll go to my email and see if the form is in the email. So here it is. I am the admin, so I'm receiving the email that says a new form was submitted from who? From Ann Tierno, just like we put in the form when we set up when we put it in through settings. And then it'll give you the name, last name, the email address, the different choices that they selected, and that'll give you everything that the person submitted. So that form definitely worked. There's one other thing I want to show you very, very quickly, and that is when you go to forms and you go to the entries and you go to, oh no, that's not what I wanted. Oops. When you go to entries, sorry, go to entries, now you'll see that the entries are there that we put in. And there they are. So you can take that information, and that information can be downloaded. So this isn't going to be very important for this, but if we were to do it for, let's say, the President's Awards and those submissions, those are pretty important ones. So what you would do for that is here you have your forms, you go to the form that you want, then you're going to go to import export. And the import export is where you're going to, it's a little different. You're going to export the entries. So you're going to select your form, President's Awards, and then you're going to select all the fields you want. So you don't have to pick every field. If you want to just do, I just want the Leadership Award winners. If I just want the Leadership Award winners information, then just take that information with the narrative, and there you go. You can just do that one. You download and export that file, and then you should be able to open that file. I'm going to have to move the window over here just so we can open it and you can see what it looks like. Then you can open that file, and it should just be the information that we took off the site. So you can see, there it is. This is just the Leadership Award, which is different from what we've done in the past. So this is going to be great for President's Awards. We can download just the leadership people, then download just the stewards and just the community partners. A lot of times we do need those three things separately. And so this is like a great upgrade to this website that we'll be able to do this now. So that's pretty much how easy it is to download information and download your form information. Of course, if you want it all, you can select it all and put it all in one document. So that's pretty much how you not only create a form, put the form on a page, but also how to download the information you need from the form.